I've been focusing on just like time, right? Like tightening up my time,
Mm,
making better use of time, being of more value, just all that stuff, personal and business.
right.
Um, do you ever do like a full inventory on just what you're doing, where your thoughts are, what you're spending the most time on? Because I know in life it could get crazy. I actually had a conversation with a gentleman a couple days ago. It was music related, but it was just about being present in the moment. Because sometimes you're with someone. We're about to play, and he just was like gone. Like he's on his phone. It's like he's not. His body's in the room, but he's mentally not
Not
there.
there, yeah.
So I had this whole conversation about, look, man, you gotta be present because not only do I see it, other people around see it too.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's something special about when you're with people, especially when it comes to music. Like
Agreed.
there's like a synergy, right?
Yeah,
That you
absolutely.
feel when you're all connected and you're excited about this thing you're about to do. And
Yeah.
also, it went deep because it's not just about us being on stage. It's about the audience. Like
Yeah.
they're coming in expecting something. So where we are individually and collectively should be in a place that we're like really sending something to the audience. Right.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you're like checked out, I was just like, man, you have to be here. If you're not present, then we all feel it. It's going to come
Agreed.
across in the presentation of what you're doing. And that's not just music, that's life. It's just not a good look. So anyways,
Yeah.
I say all that, but I've been tightening up just like where am I with my mind, like my mindset, my attention to what I'm actually doing, who's getting the
Hmm.
time, what type of time am I giving myself, which is important too. So I started writing down this little, like, not, well, mostly mental notes, but just a list of things I want to pay more attention to. One of them, I actually might be fun to talk about, is screen time. Because I used to pay really close attention to that. And
Yeah.
obviously, when you're doing things, phone intertwines into work so much these days
Yeah.
that there's
Yeah.
not really a separation of being on the phone for professional or personal, and then the hours can stack. So I've been paying attention to that. That's one of the bigger focuses lately, is just trying to. And it was funny. We texted this morning, and then we both left home without our phones. And I
Yeah.
was like, shoot, man, I hope you didn't get back to me. And I come back and I read, sorry, I left home without my phone. So I wasn't sure if that was intentional or not, but that's like a big thing on my mind lately. Was that
Yeah.
intentional?
Yeah. What?
Or did you figure it
Leaving the
out?
phone?
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
It was 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
And
okay.
it's
Are we aligned
interesting
on
that you
this
had that. Yeah,
cause?
that you had that conversation because I had been even now, like up until a couple days ago, I'll get caught just like being in my phone and there's nothing in there. It's not even like I got an email or something important to read. I
Like
just
refreshing
pick up my
email?
phone. Yeah, I'll refresh my email, but then I'll go into one of these social media sites and just get sucked into
Oh,
nonsense. And to the point where, like you had said, I'm not, if I'm with people, they instantly know I'm not physically there. I'm not enjoying. I'll be watching TV and grab my phone. And it's like, I wanted to watch the show,
wow, yeah.
yet I went and grabbed my phone. So
You missed
it's
it.
been something that, yeah, I've talked about this many, many times, just how poorly I am at disciplining myself by not using my phone. Like if it's not, even if it's not near me, I feel like,
Mm,
oh, where's my phone? Like I'm missing something. I'm not missing something. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But like you still feel like you're losing a body part or you're detached from yourself if you don't have your phone. And
Oh, yeah.
it's something that lately I've asked my wife to call me out on just because I'm aware of it. Like I might be with people and if the
That's
conversation
good.
goes south,
Accountability.
I'll just start going in my phone and tune out, and it's not good at all. I don't like it about
Oh,
myself.
yeah. It's so easy just to escape, right?
Yeah, but I'm in the early stages of really trying to get out of that habit. I do well for a little bit and then I get sucked back in because it's so easily available and it's such
Oh,
a
I'm glad
distraction.
we talked about it here.
So I'm working on it. I
It really
appreciate
is. And a killer of time.
oh,
Killer of time.
beyond. It's
Because
the
it's
worst killer of
efficiency,
time.
productivity. You want to be as, yeah, because you want to be able to spend, or I want to be able to spend a lot of time, especially if you wake, depending how you structure your day, but I wake up early, I start my day early. So I want to know by like a certain time of the day, unless there's like, I don't know, something that I'm committed to time wise, that I can take some of that time for myself or family later in the day or throughout the day.
Right.
And I realized that just measuring screen time is really a good way to start to measure how productive you really are, because you feel like you're getting stuff done, and there's a
Yeah.
difference between being productive and just doing things, right?
Yeah.
And also, it's hard to focus when every time you hear a beep, you lose your focus to check something. So I guess maybe
Exactly.
throw out some advice that I'm using on myself.
Do
Turn
not disturb.
notifications off, which I
Yeah.
typically do anyways. Do not disturb is good if you want to really fight the temptation of checking every second.
I
And
have
then
to do that
check
in
your
the
screen
evening.
time. And I guess all the phones have goals you could set. So I actually set goals for like different apps like social. And for
Yeah.
me, social media, it's not like Instagram stuff personally, but YouTube. I do spend time on YouTube. I love YouTube. And I guess that groups in messaging and everything else too. So I set
Yeah.
mine to an hour for social and like an hour 45 for total screen time for the day. That's my goal right now. And then I'll just keep trimming it down until it's a number that I think fits being able to manage the needs and
Yeah.
of life, of business, whatever, and give myself minimal screen time. And there's a cheat where you could just use your laptop more, but don't do that.
Yeah. No kidding.
So that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. I'm feeling
I
good about it.
appreciate you sharing that.
Do you have goals there?
Yeah,
That
it's
challenge
just
you. What's your goal?
it's not as tight as yours. It's definitely a lot looser. It's just really right now to decrease. Like whatever it is right now, let's decrease. And
That's
it's
fair.
high.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth sharing because it's embarrassingly high. So I need to get that number
I
down
didn't want to go into the number.
dramatically before I can really start to set
Yeah.
a 2 hour, hour and a half, or hour goal. Because I don't want to pretend my problem.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll finish dinner and open my phone and then look up and it's dark and it's after 8:30. It's almost 9 o'clock and it's like, where did those 3 hours go? Like, what? Are you kidding me? And like, you might respond to a message, you
Jeez.
might respond to an email, but mostly it's just doom scrolling, just looking at stuff that's not going to
Doom
change.
scrolling,
There might
wow.
be some cool things that I get to see, but I'm not going to retain any of it. So it's just like, was it even worth reading or checking out? Like, I wonder how much of the cool stuff or like information gets retained from just doom scrolling. And that happens in YouTube Shorts, Facebook. I see it all in many platforms. Reddit, people act like they're doing themselves a service by going into Reddit, but Reddit, you can kill a lot of time doing useless stuff as well. So YouTube, I feel,
It's crazy.
has a
yeah.
little bit of you can learn there for sure and probably retain it. But if it's on your phone, I just feel like, are you really learning from your phone? Because I feel like YouTube on my computer is a little bit more informative, or I can absorb it better if I'm watching a video on YouTube on my computer as opposed to on my phone.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So just something to be aware of anyways, right? Just
Yeah.
not saying that anyone should have any specific goal, but I think just thinking of time and how precious it is and how fast it flies by. If you're not focused, you could feel like, 2 months
Absolutely.
go by, you're not as focused as you should be. We always know when we're not in that place, right? You're not
Yeah.
doing the things that you should. But time flies by and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what did I do with that time? That's the worst feeling. So just trying to be more intentional about that. I know you're pretty intentional about, this is part 2 of that phone thing, is what goes into your body. So what goes into your mind is a big part of it, how you use your time, and then what goes
Yeah.
into your body. So I've been pretty specific on that too. And I know you have as well. We never really talked about your system. And I'm just going to bring it up because I know we don't have a lot of time, so we're not going to turn this into like a health and wellness thing. But do you have a system that you use or any sort of hacks that you use to just kind of, because I don't know if you go as far as measuring macros, calories, protein, if you have goals for the day there, or if you're just like specific on the food groupings you eat. What do you do?
Yeah, so it's not, it's not drilled down and it's not as precise as, some people are. I really focus on a couple things. Making sure I drink a lot of water. Like, water's got to be the top beverage that I have.
Key.
A little bit of coffee, but mostly
Water's
water.
life, yeah.
Also, raw
Yep.
vegetables. I think it's really important for me to have some raw vegetables
I always
every
see
day.
you, I always
Every
see you
day.
eating raw vegetables.
And that to me is just like an absolute must. 80% of my diet needs to be for my body, 20% for my soul. So I try and keep that balance in terms of just not indulging too much, but really trying to focus on the good. Any good vegetables, try and keep it very vegetable based, a little bit of fruit, and working on minimizing my bread, because bread is a problem for me. But other than that,
Yeah.
you had also told me 20 minutes of sweating is absolutely important. I really try to get some
That's
type
true.
of
Yeah, we
physical
talked about that a long time ago.
exercise
You can-
before. So I
Lose your
really
breath.
try and just make sure, even if it's just doing some body squats and some push-ups at my house and just trying to get my heart rate up,
Yeah.
that's really important. And really trying to discipline myself at focusing on being creative, which is something that, depending on my actual day, has gotten tough, because sometimes my days go 12, 14 hours now. And so it's not always
Yeah, it's
conducive to coming home and wanting to be creative. But when those opportunities do come, even if it's a half an hour, just spend a half an hour just being creative, whether it's write a verse, whether it's, practicing
Sure.
your piano, whatever. I just really try
Whatever
and
it is, yeah.
carve out that time. And what I've noticed, to bring it back to the phone thing, is phone will eat up
Mhm.
all of that time. So if I'm on my phone, I just lost all
That's
the
true.
time I had to be creative. I could have been creative for the last 2 hours, and instead I'm doom scrolling on my phone looking at the dumbest videos on Instagram.
That's true.
It's so, and then you kind of like go
I
through
think
this
that's
vicious cycle of
the
beating
show title,
yourself
the
up.
episode title.
What's the show title?
Doom scrolling.
Oh,
I like it.
Yeah, it's something that, and like reading, I could have spent a half hour reading. I don't do that as much lately.
Right.
In the last 6 months or so, I haven't really done much reading. So I really have to get back into finding a book that I want to read and reading, even if it's just for half an hour a
Yeah.
day. But
Yeah.
like I said, my well, I forget the term, but my, not goals, but the things I do in terms of just like trying to manage my day isn't as structured
Mhm.
as a lot of people. It could be better, but I try and keep it loose, because I've noticed when I don't do something, if I lay out something and I don't do it, the depression and the feelings that I get from not doing it hurt a little bit more. So there's 3 things I got to get
I
done.
got you.
And so now I just try and focus on those 3 things, whether it's, getting something done for work,
Makes
getting
sense.
something done at home, getting something done for my physical body. Like, as long as, I can
Yeah.
do something in all 3 categories, I feel like the day hasn't been a complete wreck.
That's good, man. That's really good. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's helped someone just at least to reconsider your mind, your time,
Yeah.
your body, what goes into your body. And like you said, it doesn't have to be so specific. I like numbers and I like to measure. I heard this quote a long time ago: "What gets measured gets improved."
Yeah.
So
That's
I
a
always
good-
go by
really
that,
good
'cause it's
quote.
just, we will estimate things, right? Like when you
Yeah.
said that 80%, 20%, in theory, that's perfect. But
Yeah.
I think the best way to set it up for yourself, and you'll still stray away, is to actually measure the thing for some time to give yourself a really good sense of what it is. You're going to stray away from it probably anyways, but
Right.
for some people, that 80-20, or if you use loose words like more or less, it means something different to all of us. So wherever your journey is, wherever you are in this part of what we're talking about, if you could think of some sort of easy way to measure or track what you're doing, just to give you a sense of where you are, it'll give you a better perspective on what you need to change. So
That's a
that's
great
all I'm gonna
point.
say.
Start
I'm
with
not
the
gonna-
audit.
not gonna
Do a
preach too
personal
hard on
audit and start from there.
Personal
But,
audit, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
When you
That's
see
good.
what's going on, then you can kind of at least know, okay, that's got to be a problem, and that's what you're checking your screen
Yes,
time
yes,
is a great
yes.
place to start. Check your screen time, and you'll
That's
be
a
like,
good, simple,
what?
right? You don't even have to do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Press the button. You're already on
Exactly.
the stinking phone. Just press the button.
Stinking. Yeah.
Let your mind be
Yeah, yeah.
blown. I know. It was very Christian talk coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
now.
That's
Crud.
okay. That's who you are.
Yeah, what the crud are you doing, man?
The crud.
Yeah, check the screen time. And sit there in the shame, as you probably should. No, I'm just joking. Just make it a little
Sit in the
better.
shade.
Nah, just
That's
make it a little
crazy.
better. Incremental change is all we're going for. Don't be too drastic because it's hard to stick to, anyways, right?
Yeah, and that's another
Keep it
thing
simple.
people do. They go a little too hardcore and they
Yeah, yeah,
start
yeah, yeah.
changing way too much, and you'll shock your body. If you've been a fat ass for, more majority of your life,
It's
you
really not
can't just
nice.
go into being a superstar athlete and start training like one right away. Just go for a walk. Just go
True.
for a
Start
20
somewhere.
minute walk and just do that for a whole week. Build up, because if you go too hard, you're going to get too sore and you're not going to want to continue. So you got to do stuff slowly in slow increments and ramp it up. But I see people
Yeah.
that start with shocking their body with crazy diets, crazy workouts. It's not
Right.
sustainable,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not
It's
going to
true.
get anywhere unless you change the mind. You got to
Change your
really start
mind.
changing your mind first before any of that stuff is really going to start sinking in.
Yeah. That's great. Let's
Yes,
leave it
sir.
at that, man. Yeah. Hope that you all had enjoyed listening and took some tidbits of what we said, something that you could apply to your own lives in any way. And we'll just keep doing it for our own lives and trying to just be that much better every day in one area at least. So that's it.
Yes. All right, y'all. Till next time.
Till
In the
next
great
time.
words of the great Jerry Springer, be kind to each other and yourselves.